Alrighty, let us do as we said we were gonna do. Well, my schedule is gonna be all kinds of borked over the next few days. But I'll do what I can when I can between this cold and the wedding reception. First things first, highest priority. We need fuel while these things continue to build up stock. We're out of fuel sooner than later. Oh Lord. Right there. Yeah, we'll be out very soon. We haven't. Whole system is exhausted. We have plenty of options. We don't have to venture too far to get. I sluggy slug. Your days are numbered. Pop. Pop. Just basic ass iron, right? Bauxite. Gimme. Here we go. Waiting for the mean things to decide to be rude and come and interrupt our fun times. Gimme. Bill wouldn't mind to go get quartz to get the awesome shoes, but quartz seems as if it's going to be a little tricky. Don't know where that underground supply is hiding at. Nearest ones seem as if they're underground or plugged in. What is this? I know you're up there, Sluggy. Not really into overclocking yet. No real need for Sluggy. I hear things, and I don't like what I'm hearing. Won't give me that. Hearing things that remind me of those little jumpy spider bastards. Oh, you. Hi there. You have hostile intentions? So do I. Tired of y'all being mean. Take the fight to you. still love a little quartz. Just a little is all I really need. Just a random little thingy of it, even. Squish. Like that noise. Sounds so nasty. Yeah, we're not gonna be getting the fancy shoes today. Because fancy shoes need the quartz. And the quartz is in bad places. So we'll just go for, I think we're just gonna make a factory instead of the absolute cluster mess that we have right now. But first we need fuel to make the whole thing work. We were desperately low when we left off yesterday. Or Tuesday. Let's see, how did that get us? Couple stacks of wood. Leaves. Honestly, more is always better. But I don't want to be sitting here clear cutting all day. And that's a good start. Oh boy. Through the mess. Sprawling disaster. And also the dick that overwatches us all. And I don't know why my mountain has a dick on it. It does. Right? Ugliest freaking base ever. God, I can't wait to blow this whole thing up. There we go. Wood. Leaves. Oh, more leaves. There's any more wood or leaves in here? Limestone can just go away. You are set to be on wood production at the moment, yes. Biomass is already overflowing. Give it a nice dose of biomass. Actually, I need some biomass for myself. For a goal. I think. Oh god. Sorry, Annie. Who needed biomass? Oh. Oh. And there goes our production. We knew it was happening soon. We ran out. You ran out. Not quite yet, but soon. Soon. You're good for a bit. You're good for a bit. Boost. Do a boost and do a boost. There we go. You don't need you, don't need you, don't need you. You don't need you. There we go. Some kind of rough organization, at least. You to there. Up, 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 up. Ah, there we go. Look, much nicer. Oh, hell. We got more concrete yet? We're gonna need a lot of concrete for what we're doing today. Lots of concrete. Didn't quite finish tier 2 last time. That required rotors, and we'll have rotors soon, but not quite. Ma'am, I think, can we do anything in here? I don't think so. Nope. 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 We could just bite the bullet and make fabric, I guess. Put some more biomass. Just to knock it out. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Biomass. Art research. Don't. Polymer resin. Nope. Rotors. Nope. Yeah, we could do that, but care about the parachute? Not that useful. Oh. Oh. Want it so bad. But we need crystal, and we just don't have it. Oh. Sulfur. All I know as well. Mam is as done as it's gonna get for a bit. Right back, one sec. Quick second. Never mind. I was smart and I brought it with me. Yeah. Scooch chair, scooch. Here we go. Biomass. Oh no, there's some biomass. Oop, oop, oop. You guys are the hogs. There we go. Now we should be good for a minute. So, never made our foundations and such. All require the same thing. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And technically we were going to have walls, but I don't really usually waste materials on walls right away. Really when my plate production is still a bit lacking. Gamma. What did you even need? Oh, that. No. You're kind of the high point to the air, right? Yeah, roughly. So. Do that. That is almost like 40, perfectly 45 degrees out of sync. Of course it is. I like the height it goes at, but I don't like the angle. Oh well. Really, it's arbitrary. Oh, I know there's ways to do mass building. Crap. I don't unlock yet. Oh well. Not actually doing anything. Here's a placeholder. Yeah. We're going to run into a rocky problem here very soon. Why? Like, right as I click it, it's like, I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna be a rebel. You rock. Are in the wrong place. Can I do this little kind of biofuel on me? Oh, not anymore. There's a trick for getting rid of rocks without an obelisk. Uh, there we go. Using 300, still far. This can't move that much, I don't think. I think 120? Yeah. But it won't build quite as fast. You can produce 60, that can move 60. That's fine. Good to be putting you on. Seven, 8, 9. Much. There we go. Let's see if the little tricky trick works. Our chainsaw will destroy, as long as you can activate the chainsaw's destruction circle, which you can't on a rock. You can on this, it will still destroy the rock. Ha! No more rock problem. We don't even have an obelisk. Obelisk. Alright. Fill her in. Probably why you should use 4s. They're a little faster to build than 1s because they're a lot easier to keep lined up. But I like the efficiency, even if it doesn't actually have efficiency. Feels like efficiency. So it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. So close. Alright. We do everything up into the smelting level outside of the factory. Sorry about that. Everything up into the smelting level outside of the factory. Leave the biomass producer outside of the factory. What do we really need? We need just a bunch of constructors. Like that. To get producing all of our goods. There we go. Bunch of constructors, right? So we have 4 iron rods. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 1, 2, 4 plates. We do 1 wider. We have 1 more ore set over there, so we can go up to 4 on plates. 1, 2, 3, 4 rods. 1, 2, 1, 2 plates. So I do like that. We'll do that. We do have a very nearby place to do that from. We have a rogue boosh. The boosh must be put down. There we go. Now we have basic iron components. I just need to bring the ore, the ingots. So, plate, 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 plate. Now, ore for rod. Rod, rod, and rod. Oh, 2 producing rods. 15 per minute. Believe we'll want screw producers as well. Do like that. Like that. Screw production takes 10 rods per minute. Make 40 screws. We have 4 rod producers, producing at 15 per. 2 produce 30, which can be 3 screws. That's going to take a little more space. So we'll take you 2. And we'll take merger. We're doing merge and split for a reason. See, I can make things that are a little bit prettier than that mess out there. Maybe this could be back 1 more, but it won't. And this needs to feed a splitter. Which then feeds our reconstructors. Oop. And oop. The reason we do so for the kind of efficiencies I like, I don't like doing so you could just put these 2 in oh, how's that layout go? Merge them. Well, either way. The reason I do it this way, because 15 and 15 is 30. From 30 goes to 10, 10, 10. Nice, even, constant flow. Some builds, you would do like overflow like 1 and underfeed the other 2 because it might use less of the mergers and splitters. And then eventually when that one gets stuffed, you'll actually reach a parity at some point. I like this because it is immediately at parity. So 1, 2, I think is magic number. Good 90s. One, 2. And there goes party. But we're set. We have rod production, which, to be frank, would be better served okay. There we go. And now our output. Oh, don't have more up. We need more rods. So let's get whatever power unit decided it's hungry. Fed. You've gone through all available you have. You're gonna become beef recipe. Not sure why it's not feeding in the leaves. Probably not receiving because starved. power. Ooh, we got some fuel now, boys. You get a full stack. You get a full stack. You were the one who was hungry. Now you have a full stack. And you have a full. You, unfortunately, do not get the full stack. You've been determined to be the unloved one. When it goes belly up here in a little bit, we'll know who caused it. Give him a little bit more. Oop. You or you. Anyway, rods. There's a couple. Factory over here that was taking shape. Oh. Right? Yeah. Brew production. 40 a pop. 120. Part 2 can handle that. So purge. But oop, oop. 1, 2. One, two. Up. Oh, this will need a Mark II. And then a whole bunch of plates. Right? 20, 40, 60, 80. Oh, reinforced iron plates. What's your damage? Your goofy number. Oh, to do a bunch of 20 outputs. I want 30. Oh. Well, you do 30 is you are gonna merge for our plate production. And you're going to split core production. So we now have 10 going that way, 10 going this way. We're gonna merge. For iron plate production, reinforced iron plate production, we now are producing standard iron plate, 20, 40, and 10 goes that way, 10 goes that way, so 50. Something right there. Oh yeah, you're splitting out into that. Pop. And that's 50 plates a minute. Now, screws. Oh, need rotors. Make another assembler. We now have rods, screws, plates, and an output for reinforced iron plate. I haven't hooked up any of our inputs yet, but we'll get there. What kind of screws do you want again? You want 60 per minute? So, 160 per minute. These are outputting 40 per minute. We'll do a similar thing to over there. You still need to be elevated. Ugh. Anyway, you are going to. You are. Whole setup is going to be different. So, you need and up. Mergers on either end. And a splitter middle. So we got 60 screws on that line, 60 screws on that line. This output can go to the assembler. Output can go to the storage container. Output's coming to an assembler. Probably invert the way I'm doing this. Put this output and that output line right up onto the assembler. If we're making this factory pretty as we can, and at least up to reinforced iron plates, not hard to make this pretty. Okay then, we need... What's going on here? We need 30 for the plate. We need, yes, 30. So like all of you and half of you. Then half of you goes over to these guys and off and away. Could bring 60 together and then split it over there, half and half. What I'm trying to think is if I bring this out, and half out and over, am I gonna be running into this? Have like an ugly situation. Yeah, that's gonna be ugly. So let's make our assembler. Our rotors. We can make our assembler. And some more cable. And the end goal is to destroy all this iron mess today. Need a lot more cable for power. Yes, we easily have a cable production facility. We're already here. And rotors, rotors, rotors. Four. Oh. We will also need to do a rotor. Well, might as well. If we're going to do a rotor assembler as well. But don't... You can do rotors and assemblers? Because that requires 3. That is a whole different mess. Go ahead and make a handful more rotors. Screws. One more rotor. Eesh. So yeah, you'll be fine. Like I could line it up. For output. Like that. And just snake it, I guess. Not gonna be that bad. Little snaking won't be too ugly, I guess. No, I can do. Ooh, I can do rotors through here. So it'll be pretty simple. Get our reinforced iron plate production going though. Fed as needed. Logistics. Footer. Merger. Whoa! How the dickens? You're wrong. You're wrong, aren't you? Splitter? And merger. Bang. Okay, then we now have 30, 50. Look. You just simple snake it? Eh. Plates it'll clear. Up here. Don't. When that gets rolling, that might cause problems. Bug me. Like lines. Clean. There we go. That is what you call sexy. Then you go and you get your shipping crate. That. No, it needs to line up with this one. I'll leave you there for a second to help alignment. Bang. There we go. 50 plates, properly stocked. View assembler. Let's make reinforced iron plates. Some screw assembly and some rod assembly. Whee! Need your output captured in what little space we have left. Instead of cramming, we'll add a little bit more. Pop, 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 pop. Ah, fucker. Give me. Oof. There we go. Let's do a second one. Really want to cover up the food tree. Food tree. I'm gonna have to chainsaw you. Like chainsawing the food. Bang. Enough plates. Ugh. So close. Need some biofuel. Plate. Plates, plural. Any. No moss biofuel. Oh. Guessing we're almost out of the leaves here soon. Oh no, it's still chugging along. Chugging along. This is nice. I don't even need to build a ramp. This can be my main entrance just like that. Funk. Funk. That's a factory. I mean, nothing has power yet, but, you know, baby steps. A fairly efficient basic iron components factory. So, power comes into the building. Power continues down the building. Feed U2. 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 Continues through the building. Boink. Here we go. Finally, that's done. Power distro down through the building. Need power here. And everything. Nope. Fish. Fish. Or a fish. You could put the power pole on here or like on there. So pretty. But it's just kind of ugly. Doing its thing like that. Then power through the building to enable production. That. See? And potentially another assembler for rotors. That one will get a little bit snaky to run. Really, I guess if it's rods and screws only, I mean, that's all right there. We'll see. Not worried about rotors at the moment. We're worried about now just getting this behemoth up and running. Now, conserve on power. Put all of our biomass burners in standby. Won't waste any fuel. I don't think these ones actually run when the grid's down. I think it's just these guys. I do not want any wasted fuel. And we are about to be destroying everything. We'll leave the crates, they have the goods, and when we're looking for goods, we'll start with using them up. Or staying valid because you're my biomass production. Anything that's not a miner or a smelter has to go. Honestly, ugly as it is, everything can go down to the miner. I think in my last factory I actually had the smeltery still actually in the facility. Don't remember. No real reason to. Clean up our power pole disaster. Need to make a portable miner so we can start mining the other iron. I believe this facility requires one extra iron node. Oh god, time to untangle the spaghetti. You? 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 Or power line that's going out to there. So you're feeding that. And you will feed that. That's the factory hooked power. That's power line down there. Okay then. We're here. Did I know I made these ugly? Careful which holes I destroy. Who can go? Who harvest those three? Bring it grid. You harvest those two and bring it into the grid. You do a whole lot. Rank. But if I need more biomass burners, it gives me option. Clean this up. To our main grid line. There's a stopping point for that smeltery. We'll need a stopping point for this smeltery. We cobble that off of you. You're not doing a whole lot. You're damn near max. Stopping point for that smeltery, and off into the copper lands, which I'm not working on at the moment. We have this cluster of burners, that's going to feed into those two. We have this cluster of burners. All of that needs a power collection station. Add one more burner to that burner cluster. This can handle one more burner cluster. Feeds into the main grid. power stop to feed this and pass along to there. This is a main grid extension out that network and that network. Network is going to include this and another iron smelter down there. We getting there, boys. There. Basically everything torn down. That's staying. That's my biomass fuel production. Those will eventually go as I use up their materials. That'll stay. That one will eventually go as I use up its materials. Okay. So, need a portable miner. Man. There we go. Be another iron ore vein right here. Yep. Also not the one I was thinking I was going to use, so we actually have more available to it in the future, if so desired. You're going to need an smeltery. The way we can do this is come back here. Really? We'll do this without clipping. We're just in an awkward place. Back to the main grid view. Kind of tapped out. That's fine. Because the one that I was thinking about down here can go off of this pole. I'm sure there was one more down here. Yeah, right there. Well, hello there, random viewer. How's it going? Going on upgrading from spaghetti mess disaster that you always start with to my first starter factory. It's over there. Got that all laid up. Got power all laid out. Need to get my iron ore smelteries and raw materials going. Tips. Tibs. Tibs. Tip. Okay. So, you have any questions, or have you seen kind of a bit of this game before? So, tips. Tips. That's hard to throw a Z after a P. That's a bit of a tongue twister for me. Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna kind of give you when you actually start this game, you make a bit of a spaghetti mess. But what you're doing, in essence, is you're trying to get your ore, and then eventually you upgrade yourself to the point where you can just this will auto mine it and auto smelt it, and you just keep producing little things to kind of upgrade yourself over time. Eventually, as you're doing that, you're just kind of like meeting your immediate needs, and you make this disgusting mess. I can show you a bit of an example of one. I haven't upgraded my copper production facility yet. And so over here, I was like, hey, I need wire. So I threw down a miner, and right there, and it fed into these smelteries, which would turn that copper into ingots, which then gets fed into these constructors, which you can set the constructors to make all kinds of things. I had them making wire. And I'm like, oh wait, I need cable. So I slapped another constructor on the end of some of my line down here and had it producing cable. So now I have cable, and now I have wire. But this mess is disgusting. And it's not efficient necessarily. You're not getting like, one-to-one. Like every single piece of material that comes out is not like, you might have like a bit stalling because like this smelter is being overfed. And so you're not getting everything run through. So eventually you get far enough along that you're like, this disaster is a mess. It's an absolute mess. You can't find anything. And then so you start making your first base. You get, your foundation pads and everything else. And you get something that's a little bit prettier. I can kind of run you through what I'm building over here. Again, this is just basic materials still. Still mostly tier 1 stuff. But, so you have a bunch of constructors lined up here. And what I'm working on right now is I'm getting all of my miners for iron over there to smelt. And they'll feed all these constructors along here. And this will just be making plates and rods. Very basic goods. And then I have some of my rod production over here is going into storage, so if I ever need to use rods. I have some of my rod production coming over into here, into these guys, to make screws. And then you can see some of the screws feed over here, in case I ever just need to use screws. And some are feeding into that, which that's another story in a minute. And you have rods going along over in here. So you can see some of these rods. So rods 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of them make around and feed into that device. And some of them you can see go into that. So I have plates. I could make one, but internally, actually in the game, a really nice thing is like, hey, I know I'm gonna need 8 constructors. So you could go, and it'll actually tell you you're gonna make all those constructors. you can see on the right side of the screen there, you need this many plates and cables. So ideally your ugly setup has already produced everything for you, and so you don't really need to build it, but you can hand build anything back at your main base. But I can walk you through kind of what this all uses and what this all outputs here in a second. Yeah, if you're ever short something, you can just come back to your main base, you can hand make it, but it's a tedious process. So, every base, even this first level base, won't be perfect. It's always kind of like what meets your needs, and then eventually it starts to break under the load of more and more advanced goods needing more and more specific things that you're not necessarily producing at the right rates. You're always pulling in more and more resources, having to go further and further to find those resources. And you might find out you're not producing enough of this, you're producing too much of that. But every once in a while, your factories will require overhaul. Yeah, this is basically an engineering game because, like, when I was talking about efficiencies, and the reason you see all these little boxes and whatnot, is because you can see, for example, this recipe in this constructor requires... you can make ground vehicles. I never got super far in my first playthrough. I know you can make ground vehicles and air vehicles that act as like supply chain instead of just everything being conveyors. You can have like drones flying supplies from one place to another place. but I don't remember if there's ever any point where you get to actually drive it. But especially when there's something I really, really want. If you look at my last endeavor, you watch my last VOD. And skimming those will kind of show you how the very beginning, those first two VODs are really beginning stuff. But eventually you get to make, so this is a research station. You feed it certain materials and it'll give you certain access to certain things. And the quartz tree is Blade Runners. Faster running, higher jumping, better fall distance, just better mobility all around. And really that's enough. You can get around, you can book pretty good with those. I don't know if you really ever get a drive. But yeah, when we're talking efficiency, what we're talking about is, well, first you have your ground source. This source is a normal source. There are, I believe, 3, impure, normal, and pure, that will have different output rates. And then the level of the miner that you put on it will also dictate the output rate. So a Mark 1 miner on a normal source can output 60 ore a minute. Now, if that were a pure source, I believe it's 120. Impure, I believe it's only 30. Mark 2 miner, I believe, doubles it as well. And you get all, like I said, more and more access as you feed in here. So, for example, I can make jump pads if I fed this thing 50 rotors, 300 plates, and 150 cable. I'm not producing rotors really well yet. That's my goal, is to get there. But as you also see, there's even higher tiers, but you have to complete what says space elevator phases. Well, that's the space elevator. This usually tests the limits of your factory to produce some of the most advanced goods available to you. And so usually you're gearing your factory towards producing whatever your goals are. Usually it gears towards upgrading that until that starts to get maxed out, and then you start gearing it towards that. And that's why I said periodically you almost have to either restructure your factory or venture farther afield and build a new factory geared after something else. And then you can either bring everything from that factory back via conveyors or vehicles. So, when you're talking efficiency, I've got this little miner right here. He can give me 60 iron per minute. Well, nice little smelter. Again, just Mark 1. I don't know if you get Mark 2 smelters. This little guy right here. If I'm making iron ingots, he can only intake 30 iron per minute. So if I were to hook that directly to that, this would actually be overproducing iron. You lose efficiency. So, you take a splitter and you make a second smelter. Now what this does is it takes the output. Oh, I put it too close. Clearances are an issue sometimes, and especially, this is one reason why you definitely want to build on platforms, is it keeps things lined up better. You don't have these elevation issues and whatnot. That's why it gets kind of ugly. It's one of the reasons it gets so ugly outside of the base. So, splitter. Come on, boy. You need to be beautiful, you just need to work. So, now it's going to feed that 60 iron per minute into here. And this splitter will either divide it in half, 30 that way, and 30... Oh, whoops. You're rotated the wrong way. It will evenly divide it between its outputs. If you put it into 2 outputs, it'll cut it in half. If you put it into 3 outputs, it'll divide it into 3. So if this is producing 60, you can either have a straight and no splitter and go 60 into something. You go straight, split it into 2 and get 30 and 30. You could go straight, split it into 3 and get 20, 20, 20. Well, this smelter wants 30. So we are going to give it that. I hate clipping. I try to make them not clip. That's a little better looking. So yeah, your little smeltery factory, or little remote smeltery factories, kind of get a little ugly. I mean, I could build a little foundation here to keep them neat. You can actually put a foundation underneath of this. Like, for example, if you really want to be neat about it, you just take this entire thing down. You can actually take your foundation pieces, and you can actually mine through a foundation, especially a smaller one. And by doing this, like I said, if you don't mind a little clippiness, it gives you a grid work to build on. And that can keep things a little bit neater. Like you can see, now I can go to my... Where you got miner? I can go to my miner here. It knows that that's where the node is. Now I can have these straight lines of this to build off of. And I have my splitter. Now this all lines up really pretty. Well, should. Not playing ball with me today, apparently. Splitter. There we go. Should be lined up now. What are you lining up to, sir? Because normally, so, what I'm fighting is you hold control, and you can see that blue line. That blue line is telling you that the input and output are lined up. They're not quite lined up, and I don't know why. I'm just going to pull it away a little bit. Hopefully it'll... What are you doing? See, how do you power everything? Grids all the way. Yeah, it is one notch off, and I have no idea why, because holding control, the whole point of control is that it lines everything up. So we can pull it away a little bit, and that'll give the belt some room to breathe so that it can do the little bit of a tweak to align itself. Now we got our splitter. It's so powering everything, as you're asking. So this is perhaps the biggest pain in the butt. Also, these should not be... I turned you all off. They look like they're running, which is annoying me, because they can run even idle and consume goods, but you can see they're not actually consuming fuel. So you start off with what's called biofuel. And that is... You start off, you just hand harvest like leaves and whatnot, you cram them in there, you burn them, and you make energy. Eventually you get chainsaw, and you become a force of ecological disaster. And you can harvest trees and whatnot and throw wood in there. And you can eventually convert that wood into biomass. And that's actually what this whole facility over, this little baby facility right here does. It takes wood and converts it into biomass, which I can then burn. But eventually you can then convert biomass into solid biofuel. And then solid biofuel is your best starting thing. But it requires constant babysitting. There's no way to automate it. Eventually you get to coal plants and oil plant power plants, and then you can automate power. But that does take a while, so perhaps the most tedious part of the start game is constantly having to babysit your grid, constantly having to upgrade your grid, because as you add more and more things, each of these burners can only output so much power. And so you have to add more and more and more and more. Always about scaling. Always having to scale things up as you build more. Another thing, when you're talking efficiencies, is you do have the ability to do something called overclock. If you find slugs, I can go show you one in a little bit. you can turn them into power shards. Power shards then allow you to overclock, or even if you want to, without a power shard, you can underclock. And the idea with overclock, underclock is sometimes, I don't know how hard you try with just regular facilities, you're not going to get everything to match up 1-to-1. And if you don't like things, stop, start, you want to have a nice continuous flow. Sometimes you have to tweak the exact output of one machine or another by underclocking or overclocking. There are energy penalties and bonuses to underclocking and overclocking. They will, it's not like, oh, I can go 200% and at the same power. If you go to 200%, you're not even at 200% power. It'll actually overuse energy because overclocking is an inefficient process. And similarly, underclocking will actually produce some energy savings. So like, hey, I don't really need this to produce, I only need 30 iron. That's all I need. So you can underclock it to save some of the stress on your grid. Like I said, this thing does get pretty in-depth. But then you just distribute power with these little power poles. You start with a 4-connection power pole. It can't connect to more than 4 things. So it gets a little bit spider nesty, spider webby. But you do eventually get 8 connection poles and other things that make it a little better. So I will show you what I believe is a slug hiding off in the distance here. Also, I will show you... Oh, yeah, no. They made this thing like... They did not miss a detail. I know this is childish. I'm sorry if this is not your humor, but this is my humor. I did not intend this, but I apparently started my base with an overlord. There is, like, right, if you get the right angle here, straight up a dick sitting on top of that mountain, and I don't know why. It's just lording itself over me. I did not put that there. I just noticed it on towards the end of my last stream. There is also combat as you venture out into the wild. One sec. I got a bit of a cold. So as you venture out into the wild, you will have to fight things. You will get a rebar gun. You'll get a better little Xeno Zapper. That's what this is called. A little better mobility over time, but yeah, venturing out further and further is dangerous, and there are areas of the map that are more dangerous than others. So, up there, that is a power slug. There are 3 tiers of power slug. Blue, yellow, red. My last stream I thought it was green, blue, yellow. I was wrong. You can research them back there at that little research station so that you can turn them into power shards. Blue turns into 1, yellow turns into 2, red turns into 3. So how does one get up there? Well, there's no flying things. Well, you have access ramps. And you just kind of Minecraft your way up there. Later, I'm out of concrete. I want to show you the slug, and then I run out of concrete. Oh yeah, there is... I'm only showing you, this is, I'm still beginning. I'm still trying to finish tier 2. Like I said, you go into coal power or oil power. I'd never done it, but I think it gets into nuclear. Like I said, you can have drones flying. You can make little hubs like this all over the world, with drones flying between them, supplying things from place to place. I think there's nuclear power. This thing is absurd. Concrete. I can't wait until I find quartz. If you look, again, at my last VOD, I did attempt to go find quartz. I think it's underground somewhere. I was jumped by some straight demon, and I said, I'm done with this, and I needed to get off for the day. Yeah, like, I wholeheartedly recommend this game if you like just like relatively chill when you're actually doing the simulation. Well, again, there is some stress when you actually have to go out into the wild and claim an area and fighting things, but it's not too bad. But it is so in-depth, so well done. They say beta, but it's been in beta forever. It's a game that's going to live in beta. Those things right there, they are not enemies. They're friends. You leave them be, they leave you be. They're our buddy. there are also other ambient nice things. There are lizard doggos, actually. After I'm done getting this slug, I can show you a little bit of the actual enemies. I'll venture forth, because I gave you a good taste of what this game can offer already from a, come on, there we go, basic gameplay standpoint. Like, that's your core loop. I should show you, I feel like I can show you a little bit of the exploration loop as well. Hey, I did not want you to build all the way down there. Stop that. Okay, I built my little platform, and... oh god, oh, it's gonna hurt. Yeah. Ow. Come on. Let me back up. Jump, you lazy bastard. Yeah, they don't mess around on the fall damage. Again, the Blade Runners are a little bit nice. I don't have it on here right now, but you can find food. It'll not like massively good at healing. You do eventually get medical inhalers and whatnot that will heal you much better. I have not gotten to that point quite yet. I'm fairly close, I think, if I remember correctly. Slug. Just accept the reality that you are now going to become a slave in my factory. Gotcha. And then, of course, we don't want to waste our materials, so 1-to-1 reclamation whenever you destroy. There's no penalty for doing these little ramps. Alright. So that's kind of the core loop of, hey, I've located a place. Hey, I'm gonna build some stuff. I'm gonna do my thing. But eventually, like I said, you find you don't have a resource you need. The starting areas rarely have the more advanced resources. So now I need to go out into the wild. And so we're not gonna find quartz. It's a ways away, but I'll still show you what happened. So you got your little resource scanner. You unlock resources as you progress. Eventually, on my compass, you'll see a bing. There. Bam. So 1,000 meters that way, there is quartz. I know there is quartz. I don't know how to get to it. Maybe we'll find it this time. Maybe we'll have to fight the demon again. I would really like to find some quartz, because I really want to make the Blade Runners. I really want to make the Blade Runners. Okay, you come out here, and like I said, take out your chainsaw and just start clear cutting. And that's why I said this is not, you're not a very green person. You are a force of natural destruction. Oh god, I hear you. Yit. No. There's no. Bad. There's bigger versions of those, and that was the demon. Don't like it. I believe there is co-op. I'm pretty sure I know there is. You can set up servers and whatnot. I have not done that. I'm usually fairly solo. But that's mostly just because I've never really had anyone to play it with. There's some resource right here. Is this quartz? Can you be quartz for me? Yes, raw quartz. So these are not nodes. These are, well, it is a node of a type, but it's a non-renewable node. You harvest it and no more. No mas. Might be enough for the Blade Runners, but let's continue our actual journey. Where were we going, sir? Come on. That way. Come on. Going up the hill. And this ramp I'll actually probably leave, because it's just, I'm going to be venturing out this direction a lot. And so you leave yourself these little pathways over time. You can definitely make better pathways. What the heck? Oh. Oh. That thingy. Right here. Come on, boy. There we go. Anyway. We're heading this way. Maybe we'll run. Okay, here's another enemy type you can run across. There's a few ways to fight them. So he's going to spit out those little dudes who are just going to kind of kamikaze after you. Come on. Come on. You. Yeah. So what I find is just eat the damage, charge in. And they die pretty quick. And as you can see here, look, I found more iron nodes. So if I ever need iron, I can build little smelteries and take them back, do whatever I need to do. Back onto the quest for quartz. Hey, another random power slug. Beware the power slugs that are at easy access. They are usually guarded by something. Where's your guardian? Oh. We'll take the easy ones too. I don't know about lightsaber. There is a longer Xeno Zapper. I really want it. It's stronger, it's better all around. Like I said, I'm pretty... Hey, well, you are protected, but you're not protected by anything very intimidating. So as I said, I already know from previous exploration attempts that that node is not accessible above ground. I got directly above it, and yes, there is a backpack limit tab. As you upgrade, your space will increase, your hand space will increase. You'll find, like I said, blade runners on your legs, body, back, head things. Because there's poison, there's radiation, hazards. You'll get upgrades that'll allow you to traverse around and survive better environments. Ah, here we go. Another enemy type. This guy's stronger form is an absolute pain. Probably my least favorite. Because they have range. Ow, and especially when you don't have the Blade Runner, you really can't dodge it super well. And his stronger form is, well, it will slap you around real hard. Don't want to go underground. Underground is usually not friendly. I should eat something. There is a death penalty. Can't remember what exactly you lose, or if you lose everything, or if you can reclaim or anything like that. Haven't died in a while, so I don't really remember. Let's see if this little formation curves around somewhere. But it's pretty as hell, too. I mean, just... God. Like, it's a fixed map, so, like, you'll have... There's some replay... It's very replayable because there's different starting points, but if you play it enough and you do enough replays, you will start to recognize things. I don't know if they ever got around to a second map or not. Oh, it's saying more back this way. I haven't seen a way underground. Maybe I messed up last time? Hi, guy. Want to wage war? Stop hiding in the trees! Coward! There you are. Owie. Gotcha. Is he like picking up leaves and whatnot with E? That's how you really, that's your first fuel, really. Yeah, this little thing. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, it's not always super clear, because like the green...
I strongly advise you to harvest this specimen.
Okay. Yeah, the green isn't always telling you exactly where the poison is, but those things are poisonous. Usually there's a green fog around it.
Comply.
And that little voice you're hearing is there's a couple of collectibles in this game that really have absolutely no function. I don't know if they're ever going to get a function. See if we can't just power our way through here. Owie, owie, owie. But anyway, when you see them, I can't see where it is right now. I have a couple of them. I can just show you what they are. And the game just endlessly says, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. And I had one right by my base, and it was driving me absolutely mad. Like, finally could get it. 94. Look, see, like right here. Says it's right here. I don't see anything. You can see, like, I'm walking towards it, and boink. So it's got to be underground somewhere. Don't know how to get to that part of underground. They're definitely underground. Lurking is good. Whoa! Hi. Let's do this dance. We know how it works. Nope. Come on, boy. Come on. Come on. Toro. Punk. Let's deal with your friend. The actually annoying one. Alrighty. It's one of the things. This is... I don't know if you got your copy yet or not, but... This is the thingy. Well, one of the two thingies. The Summer Sloop. There's also a Mercer Sphere. And it just will sit here and yell at you to harvest and harvest and harvest. But as you can see, it says whip, work in progress. They haven't actually done anything with it in the multiple years of this game.
Hello, this is Paternal Figure. I have taken ill and need your help to find a cure. Doctors say that the only
Oh,
remedy is alien
now shut up.
artifacts.
Where's my quartz? That goes down a ways. That's probably my quartz node that I've been looking for. You little bastard. We will have you shortly. Meat pizza is best pizza. We found our quartz, by the by. I could set something, I could drag power all the way out here and have it harvesting quartz and bringing it back for me, but I'm really not at a point that uses quartz very much. Or really, honestly, at all. But now I at least have, I can manually harvest some and drag some back just for the research purposes. Okay, who's being hostile? You! You are nothing to me. So, on the way here, while you were off, I don't know if you heard or not, we did find one of these things called a summer sloop, work in progress. That was the one thing that was talking to me like, hey, harvest me, harvest me. There's another one called a Mercer sphere. Also on the way, we accidentally stumbled across a little bit of radiation. Found a little uranium node. I will see if I can find it on our way back. This is copper. I don't need you. You lied to me. Thought we had the quartz. Still got a ways to go. Still a ways to go. So far away. Not really experiencing anything too violent. I will be right back. I will not be long, I promise. Alrighty. Back to the great journey for quartz. I'm gonna avoid the little armada waiting on the beach for me over there. Oh, hey. Now you're gonna get to see another thing, too. Right in front of me. I doubt I'll be able to open it. It has something in it called a hard drive. Hard drives give you access to alternate recipes for goods. Benefit of alternate recipes: sometimes they're more sometimes they save you resources, sometimes they're more resource intensive, but sometimes like they might allow you to skip a processing step, like using bars directly instead of having to convert bars to screws. Some of them are just flat out useless, but they're always okay. See that big mean thing? That is the alpha version of the spitter. They will wreck your day. I'm not... No. Just no. Alpha spitter is not your friend, and he will make sure you know it. Those hard drives are usually protected by something. Not always alphas, sometimes just a couple of regulars, but that one is definitely protected by the big boy. Now, you can do clever little things like build around them and trap them in and stuff like that. I've definitely been known to do that sometimes. This is why you always have plenty of concrete on you. It is your friend, navigation. Quartz! We have found you. Your node too. Like I said, I'm not gonna bother trying to get this all the way back. I'm just gonna grab a bunch, take it with me, because I'm not at a stage in the game that really requires quartz. Like I said, I'm just kind of pushing through for it so I can get those blade runners. And yes, they did straight rip off. Boom, boom, tsh, bop, bop, tsh, bop, bop, tsh. You'll now forever, if you play this game, you will have this song stuck in your head forever. Alright, that should be enough to get us rolling. Okay, there's 2 quartz nodes out here. Noted. You can see, like, you actually enter different sectors, and, like, there is this fixed map of the area. As you explore, you can start to uncover more and more and more of it. Different kinds of terrains, different kinds of challenges in each terrain. It's very pretty. Yeah, no, it's going to take some walking. It's going to take a bit of walking. We mean no harm. Please don't use violence upon us. A very mean beach. Now we start the journey back home. See how much waste out the rest of our concrete, but this will be a lot faster than... This will eventually need to be out here, so it's not a super big waste. It allows us to get around a little bit quicker than swimming. There is eventually a way to build like a string in a shot, I'm fairly sure. Yes, there are beacons. You do eventually, again, it's like everything else in this game. There's very little you actually start with. But you do eventually get beacons you can drop. I mean, particularly when you think about it, I mean, you're going to have a bunch of little... Not everybody likes to do the whole, like, I'm going to just do 10 miles of conveyors And some people don't like drones and whatnot because the amount of... There's actually a lot of maintenance, and there's a lot that could go wrong in your supply chain if you're thinking about it. Whoa! I hear you. Oh god, you're one of the big boys. I have no interest in fighting you. I don't have a good weapon right now. Let's not do this and pretend we did. The little hogs are easy. The big hogs, they will slap you around. Again, once you get the bigger zapper, hello. Can I jump on this rock, please? Devs, you forgot something. We will make our own collision. Ugh. Long way home. But yeah, this game is what you make of it. It really is. Trying to keep half an eye open to my right because somewhere over there is that little uranium bit. So I can kind of show you another resource, but I'm not going to harvest it. I don't want to die. Yeah, you see that little green up there? You're like, ooh, there's an ore I've never messed with before. Let's go say hi. Never mind. You don't like me. Bad ore. You gotta have ways to deal with that in time. Oh, hey, another hard drive. You're just guarded by a basic spitter, so I can handle you. Couple of them. But... Okay. Where's your buddy? Come here. Stop hiding in the bush, you coward. Alright. So, these wrecks. How do these wrecks work? Usually there's some more advanced materials hiding around them. So, like, got some modular frames. You can kind of scavenge about. Some more frames. Some screws. Oh, you can get some goods here. This is not really what they're for. Although sometimes you'll find stuff that is very complicated to make, so it's nice. I am full up. I'm full up on what? What do I not need? I do not need to carry any iron ore on me. Or nor do I need to carry any copper ore on me. For all of that iron ore. Should be enough. But anyway, so you open drop pod. It's going to require something. It might require power. In this case, it requires modular frames, which we happen to be lucky enough we're lying around on the ground. It requires something. So you give it the something, and then it'll allow you to open it, and you get a hard drive.
Data on the hard drive has been salvaged and can be repurposed to unlock an alternate recipe. Salvaging more hard drives will provide additional alternate recipes.
What the lady said. Oh, the long journey home. Now we can finally make our Blade Runners, I think. And we'll make our, what time is it? 10? Got a little bit more time before I get off. Sulfur? Bum, bum. Limestone node, not really in need of you. Violent things that want to be mean. Bye. Yeah, we'll, oh, I don't like you. They emit poison gas. They'll kind of stand up and get pissy with you. No. There was a power slug in there. I'm not really doing much overclocking, so I wasn't going to futz with them. Oh, the grand journey. At least this time, unlike last stream, my grand journey to the quartz actually got something. Who wants it? Hog? No! Bad boy. Huh? Now I know you're there, you're gonna run away, huh? Coward. More of you. So many of you. Come on. Ah. Woo! Come on. Come on, boys. Do it. No. Got one of you down. Come on. Two of you down. Next up. Hunks. They're pretty easy. You just kind of jump and fight them. The hogs are honestly like the regular hogs are easy fights. You do have to try to keep as much eyesight on them as possible because they will try to team you from multiple angles. You can see I actually have a hard drive right next to my base here. I just don't have the goods to open it yet, I don't think. I'll double check. I think it needs rotors. I have some now. I don't know if I have enough. I need 11 more rotors. When I get to rotor production, that'll get done pretty quick. Day's goal, get this factory online. So close. But we did complete our other goal. Our real goal. Our life goal. Blade Runners. You can see how those work. So, go into the quartz tree. Now I can use some of that quartz I got to research silica and shop products. And now I need modular frames and silica. Well, I happen to have some silica from where I found it. I can't use it. Power slug, go away. So anyway, yeah. See, Summer Sloop and Mercer Spheres. No actual use yet. Try to clean out some of this stuff that I don't need on me at the moment. Look, come here. Now we can research the Blade Runner. So we can make a Blade Runner. Now, the other thing that we found out there. Hard drives. So when you get a hard drive, you can scan it. Now that'll take 10 minutes, and it'll get you something. I believe you usually have a choice between a couple. So, Blade Runners. I need to make one more modular frame. That I can do. Link. Now, go over here, and we can make ourselves a set of Blade Runners. Now you can put those on your legs. So, a little bit faster. Not a ton, but should be a way to slide, but I don't remember it. So, let's get back to what our... You can see I got a lot more jump to me. Yeah, no, it's cool. They do a good job with it. That's for sure. Let's add... Actually, because we're kind of cramped, I might end up destroying my entire building and moving it because it's kind of cramping with my iron here. I think I'll do is take my smeltery over this way. Smelter 1 and smelter number 2. Now we can hook this all up. There. And so, if you like even really pretty, nice 90s and whatnot, the trick is find your alignment point, go back 1 and 2. And that makes a pretty 90 every time. So now we can take my little power pole here, production, there. Now it's not actually producing because I have my power shut down to conserve while I'm doing this changeover. I don't want to be wasting my energy, wasting my resources while I'm doing this little reboot. But anyway, now we have 30, 60 ore coming out of the ground. 60 ore goes into here. Blitz, 30, 30. You do have limits on your conveyors. You'll get Mark 1 conveyors, Mark 2 conveyors. Your Mark 1 conveyors can max out at 60. So as long as I leave this as a Mark 1 conveyor, actually upgrading this to a Mark 2 miner or overclocking it is actually useless because you become limited by your conveyor. I do have Mark 2 conveyors, just no need at the moment. And now for more efficiency's sake, merge these together. See, that's not pretty. And not pretty at all. Again, I don't love clipping, but I kind of tolerate it for these little things. But you can actually get something called a Nobelisk. It's basically dynamite, and you can clear out little rocks eventually. It depends on exactly how far you want to let your OCD reign. Merge. Good. You to there. You, 1, 2. And bang. Now I can have an output of 60 going to the base. We don't want 60. We need all this. So, come all the way over here. Where's your output? Now this is where things you can kind of choose to either really just let loose and wild be wild, or you can use your control to keep things on nice straight lines. Now that can kind of if you do it this way, it's really not super efficient though. And again, when you're all the way out here, I'll tend to let things run a little wild just because it uses, the longer you make your runs, the more you can see it uses up my resources. So there's iron output number 1. I just need 2 more iron outputs. A little mining platform again. So, find yourself your miner. Lined up with your grid. And you know what to do now. You need split it because that outputs too much. Seems like it's off one notch again. Give it a little bit of space to account for that. Not sure why that and that aren't lining up anymore. They used to line up just fine. Yes. It kind of giving you a readout when you're doing these kinds of things. Tell you like, hey, and it'll even tell you when you're not have enough until you can see what you do end up being short on if you need more of it. It is a very smart touch on their part. You. 1, 2. You. Now, we have second one. Now we'll do something interesting with this as I fumble through keyboard because that'd be me. You always got to watch these little arrows, orange and green, because inputs and outputs are fixed on a device, and I can't even begin to tell you the number of times I have done that wrong. One, two. And there's our next one. But, as I said, you can actually send 120 one way if you have a Mark II, which I do. I'll build a similar setup here, bring it into the side here, and output 120, so I only have 2 runs going. Bit more, it uses more complicated resources. Wonder if the miner can still reach through that gap. Don't remember what the actual gap that the miner can reach through is. No, you can definitely do clean fits with 3. It just depends on how you space things. You don't have to put things right next to each other. There's tons of ways. I can show you back here. There's clean fits with 3. It's just a little bit of thinking about how you're laying it out, experience and practice. You see, that's a nice clean fit 2. There's one, I know. There's another way to do a clean fit on 2. You could feed it in like that, or you could feed it in like that. When you have a little bit more space, you can do a clean fit 3. 3 things are going into here. If this were a merger, this is actually a splitter, but you could, like right here, this is merging 1, 2, 3. It's just smelters have such a narrow stance that doing 3 is a little bit trickier, but it's still absolutely doable. You can see I just got a notification that MAM is done. MAM is that research. We can see what the hard drive yielded. So hard drive, I could do cheap silica, and so I can, instead of having to do just quartz into silica, I could do quartz and limestone. I could do fine concrete. So the question you kind of ask yourself is, you know, concrete's not used that much, and so do you really want to use a more precious resource like silica to cut limestone into concrete? Typically, those are the ones that would be considered the bad ones because you rarely have an excess of silica. You frequently have an excess of limestone. And that's why this way around would actually be better. Or you can do stitched iron plates. And again, the idea here being maybe you have an excess of copper wire and you want to use that instead of using a whole bunch of iron. And also though, you can look at the production rate, 26.25, 25, 5.625. These do not have the same production rate as their base. So you might be like, hey, maybe I want to do that because concrete only produces, I think, like 15 per minute, so I want to produce more. Or, hey, this is a better recipe, but it produces slower. There's there's trade-offs. And you, of course, you start getting into these fractionals. And these fractionals are where you start to getting into overclocking and underclocking nightmares. Because who in their right mind had to choose do 5/8 a minute, 5 and 5/8? That's just rude. But I will go with that one. But anyway, got our output there. We got a potential output there. Gonna have to do some deforestation here in a second. Let's see if our miner can reach down through. You can see it can. You can see it's blue, so it is managing to reach through the gap in that floor. Question now is, what is the best orientation? Well, clearly not that. Let's try something a little bit snaky. I need some solid biofuel. I need to get rid of that thing. It's bothering me. And we're back to base building, so we don't really need the food anymore, so we can go back to chainsaw. Cut down this stone tree. Another advantage to the chainsaw over hand picking is, look at all these things that I gotta pick, right? So many things. Chainsaw has an AoE. That's nice. Another nice thing about the chainsaw is, like I said, typically you need a Nobelisk to clear small boulders. But they really weren't careful. And so, look. Small boulder. I need a dynamite to clear it. Chainsaw has AoE effect. See if I can quite reach over there. Nope, not. If a rock is within a destroyable rock is within the AoE of the chainsaw, it will still take the rock out. It's kind of a bug, but they've never fixed it, so I consider it a game feature now. They have chosen to leave it in there. And it rarely is something you can take advantage of, but when you can, it is so nice. I've already had to use it a few times. I got lucky. In my main base that I'm starting to build over there, there's a big rock just right in the middle of my floor, and I fortunately have like one thing right next to it I could cut down and rock go bye-bye. So, I have to boink. Now we're playing a little bit of Jenga, a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle, trying to find out how to get this over to there in this little space I gave myself. Definitely not the most efficient, but it's because I made the poor choice of building all of that right there, and I really don't want to move all that, so I can't push that production out that way. So, smelters. Know this game? You know it well. There. Did the thing. Splitter. Didn't have it facing the orange arrow, so it was trying to do an input into an input. Told you, you will do it. It's a matter of when. Yeah, 2 is the magic number in a lot of cases, but it really isn't always. I mean, I can show you over there. There's all kinds of goofy other exceptions. Now you're outputting. I need a merger. Want to output in that direction. And off and away you come this way. Now, let's see how we can make this do its business. I got the spacing on that right. It ain't perfect, but it gets the job done. Now we got this guy producing 60 iron ingots, which goes into here. And this guy producing 60, which is 30 in, 30 in. So that a total of a 120 output. So a basic conveyor will just choke this whole system. But we do have a Mark II conveyor. Very resource intensive little bugger. There's a maximum length, as you can see. It's kind of like, eh. There we go. We got our 120 iron moving in this direction. Now what do we do, right? And bring here to here. So we can make a destination pole. And we can stack onto it. Now we can perceive two inputs in a nice, clean, lined up, orderly fashion. Almost clipped. Didn't quite clip. That's good. There's a trade-off for using this setup. Actually, what we're going to do, we're going to take the whole Oinga pan, line it up. Don't always snap super well, especially when you're out in the wild like this. So not gonna worry about it right now. Oh, and here's another issue. Oh, I started there and I'm going this way, and you see they both have green arrows because it's the direction you go is its output direction, so that they can't play nice. But if you go back this direction, and on it goes. It is very sensitive to directions. Turn you a bit. You're not looking quite so ugly. All right. We got those running along here. Oh, you're just a little short. Such is life sometimes. There. And our factory is now receiving the iron that it needs. It's not the prettiest, and you could definitely clean these up, make them more efficient. But I tend to let my lines run a little wild. So, we have to remember now, we have 60 coming in on that line, 120 going onto that line. What do every single one of these want? You only want 15. You only want 15. You only want 15. So, but these first four are all iron bars. They all want 15 each. So I have to make 60 go into 15. Well, that's easy. That's 4 ways. But a splitter can only go 3. This is where you get into 2 different philosophies. you can just go down the way with splitters, and what'll happen is 60 will go in, 30 will go that way, 30 will go that way. And you'll hit this splitter, 15 will go that way, and 15 will go that way. And you hit this splitter, and then 7.5 go that way, and 7.5 go that way. Well, these two become star-fed. But what happens is this only wants 15, but you're feeding it 30. Its internal buffer fills, and then you get a little traffic jam right here. And so that forces more down here. And then this internal buffer fills because it's now being flooded. And then once that does, you get a little traffic jam. Boom, and boom. And it does end up net working, but it takes a second. Oh yeah, if you spend too much time trying to be clean on your initial, like getting through, I don't recommend being clean until you get into tier 2. You really need to have your splitters, you need to have your tier 2 conveyors, not necessarily, but you at least need splitters and mergers, and you need to have foundations. Being clean before that point is useless. But yeah, so you can either just do this, but the cascade effect, I would say, is the one that I've seen more people do. The other thing you could do is you can drive yourself mad with the math and say, well, 60. Okay, I'm going to feed 60 into a splitter, and that's going to send 30 and 30. And then I can do more splitters. I can split the 30 over here and the 30 over here into 15, 15, 15, 15. And you have a perfect parity system. Always running, happy, no issue. So, but those tend to be more space consuming. Space efficiency, cascade effect. If you don't mind having some space inefficiency, then you can go with the more direct, true split method. I tend to also err towards the cascade effect because it nets the same result, and it has a cleaner overall look. Like I said, the downside is your factory does take a little bit to get to parity, get to happiness, and if there's a process disturbance, like on the feed side, then you have to re-wait for that whole cascade to fill back up. So it's not like lights on with the flick of a switch. There's a wind-up time. One way you can get around it is you could just have some in your inventory and just pre-fill the buffers. But anyway, we're going to just go with a basic cascade style. So input, line that up. There. Line up there. Line up there. And then your final output does not need a splitter. Oh. Well. That's ugly as sin. But there's ways around that. Multiple ways around it. Which way do I want to do? The best way. I could just scoot it over in the input, but then my output doesn't line up. I could scoot that over, and then I gotta just rerun my lines. That's not too terrible. Up. We're at it. Go ahead and have run a little more direct buddy right there. So we need a pole. Lines up there. Like I said, I don't have to actually stack my input. I could actually take my other input and just put it down there where it's needed. But I'll kind of show you what I'm going to do with it. I have a plan. Oh, yep. There. No, there. Thank you. Did I make it too close? Or are we going to clip? We are going to clip. Made you too close. So, you're worried about clip because of that, right? There is a feature you have not seen me doing. Go to here, and you're like, well, you always notice there's a little bit of a pause. I click once. That's because you can elevate. Make like a Dalek and elevate. And that will help clean up some of your collisions as well. And now, this is not clean yet because I put my input to the one side, and now my input wants to be correct on that side. So, split. See, I got a nice T, so it's all lined up with everything around it. In to there, out to there, and out to there. Now, we can... This is a bit resource intensive. But one way to get around, like, oh, hey, how am I going to get this all down here with all this in the way, is you can use these as really nice, like, 90s, because they stack very well. And then you can just... It says overlapping clearances. I'm not seeing the clip. I'm going to let it ride. And then you can go over and you again, you can't build on top, but you can go past. There's a few ways around this issue. The simplest way around this issue is splitter going in the direction you want. Then you can cancel out that splitter. You can... This is not the way I would normally have built this, but there's a time where this will become... I need more reinforced iron plates. Damn it. There is a time where doing this stacking almost becomes imperative. That's another reason why you want to really let your mess run for a while. You want to get these little storage containers that you can rely on for when you need a random material. Now, there's a time where this stacking method becomes imperative because depending on how tightly you... Okay, so that does clip a little, but I'll let that ride. Not a bad clip. Just kind of supported on top. So, if you do really, really tight packs, you're going to be having things going in low, things going in high, because you're going to have 2, 3 inputs on some of these machines. They said this is just a basic constructor. It's a single input, but there's 2, 3, and 4 input devices. So you get these goofy stacks. Well, the way around stacks is elevators. Way to help. I might have put it too close. But essentially what you're doing is just that. You need to stack 3 up, though. As you can see, it's dropping into the floor. And you can actually even do... So I'm going to do this in a stack style, just to kind of show you the principle at work here. I would say that this is overkill for this process, but I want to kind of just show you the principle. And you can literally just pluck this onto the end. So you just get your arrows going where you want to go. I want my material coming from that direction. Same thing. My material coming from that direction. Put my conveyor on here. Make sure that you're not doing that. There we go. And my splitter going from the correct direction. And now you can take you. Now it won't even clip. Now this feeds. So this will split 60-60. So now we can go back down to tier 1 belts because the output on this is now only 60. And we will need splitter, although it seems kind of useless on here just because of the way that it interacts with the elevator. And now this allows you to run a whole other line down underneath and into, say, a second input in this machine. And you can even run your elevators higher. You could have a, like, the upper highway that drops down, the mid-tier highway that drops down, and then the ground level that goes in. That's how your really high efficiency, tight pack factories start to work. I can actually show you a little bit of that because we are basically done with this facility. Everything is hooked up. Power is run. Inputs are inputting. But we should be able to flip our power switch, make sure this works. And then I'll load up my old base and I can show you a little bit more. No standby. Hopefully this doesn't just immediately overload. It shouldn't immediately overload the grid because the stuff in there can't actually produce yet. But as the base comes more and more online, more and more, like, you can actually track your system's use. So you have what's you're consuming, what your system capacity is, and what your maximum. Right now, my maximum construction is only, like, everything built that's attached to the network can only consume 120 megawatts. My capacity is 130. So even at continuous, full, non-stop operation, I have enough overhead. That is a nice thing. Their grid management is, like I said, there's nothing they didn't leave out. So you can see, got my ore coming in, splitting between those two. And we have our first iron ingots coming together and going down the line. Oh, we did not hook power up to these facilities. And this is why you monitor everything. And there's actually ways for it to tell you that too, if you haven't. Like, you see, can't really see them. You see how this little light pole here is gray? It's not hooked up. It's not got power. It's not doing nothing. You see, like, that light pole, it's green. It's powered. It's running. It's happy. There's a light color for, I don't know if there's a light color for running inefficiently. I know there's a light color for overclocked. And there's a, if it doesn't have a recipe, it will have a light color. These say they don't have power. What do these say they don't have power? Oh, they don't have a recipe. Again, gray, they're not configured. They either don't have power or they're just not configured. Something's not happy. You need configured. You need configured. Yeah, it's, you can actually get a lookout tower and look over it and just watch all of your lights. You don't have to manually be down in there. You can watch the lights. They'll tell you what your machines are doing. Tell you if there's inefficiencies. It's ridiculous. Again, I've said it a million times. It is ridiculous what they have done. Level of detail they've gone through. Power pole. And some juice this way, please. And now, actually, if you look at my network, you can see my max constructed is 146 and my capacity is only 130. I am going to trip out at some point. So I can go over here, build another biomass burner. Chuck some biofuel in it. And hook her up. Grid. There you go. Now this one will allow for, again, more stuff to flow into the grid. I can put at least two more biomass burners on this pole that feeds into the grid. We are now capacity 160, construction 146. We got green lights. Got iron ingots flowing. You don't see a single, You know, no stoppage. That's continuous flow. That's continuous flow. No little stop and goes. So all of that's good. Another trick for running faster, run on your conveyors. Don't run against them, run with them. One base level pole can only have 4 wires. That's why it turns into, particularly at the beginning, a bit of a rat's nest around here. Eventually you can do 8. And again, also you'll like do like a line of coal factories, for example, that are just producing power. And so you'll just run like something like what I have in here. When you start to do lean builds, you just run like main connectors around your build that then feed little substations. For example, my maximum substation capacity is 3 because it's a 4-piece pole. So like around here, running down, continuing the power down takes 2, so they can each feed 2 constructors. And you can see what I mean by this guy is starting to build his internal buffer, but we can go ahead and fill that buffer, and you'll see that this starts to back up. And now, once this starts backing up, that will push more into here. And then we can fill your buffer. Is that if you have some ingots on you, you can kind of help restart everything. Now you'll see that this guy should start backing up, which will push extra that way. You're going to have the same issue here where some are going to be overfed, some are going to be underfed until all the buffers fill. So, this is... Normally, before I get off, I would just watch this whole thing get going. Like I said, I'll give you a quick review of what it's doing. So these two are outputting 15 rods a pop, combined 30. So I'm now building into my inventory 30 rods a pop. These two combined are building 15 each, 30. 30 splits 3 ways, 10, 10, 10, because I want to make screws. Screws require 10 per. So these are all being fed at the rate they desire. Now here's where you get into the fun splits and merges. I need some to go to that and some to go to this. This wants 60 screws. One unit produces 40. So if I could underfeed it by giving it 1 unit, I could overfeed it by giving it 2. Or I can split the output of this unit, 20 merging with that to give that its happy 60, and the other 20 going into my buffer. Now that's all the screws that I need to make these reinforced iron plates. Well, I also need iron plates for reinforced iron. It wants 30. Well, that's actually a pretty... That seems simple because like 15 outputs, right? Well, no. Plates output 20. So it's again the same kind of thing. I'm getting 20 there. That goes on. But also, this 20 is splitting 10 to give me the 30 I need, and 10 to go with these two 20s to give me 50 going into stock for general use and other products. Eventually, you can either output your buffer, you can destroy this and rework as you're adding more and more complex machines. But this is a base level factory right here. This is a reinforced iron plate, screw, rod, and iron plate factory. As you find you don't need more, like you always will need more base things, so you always want to have some base production, but you'll eventually start robbing out of these and or building more of these base level productions to go into these advanced productions. I mean, you eventually start talking about like a 2 input, then 3 inputs and 4 inputs, and you have a single input and a 2 input feeding into a 2 input, and oh yeah, there is day-night cycle. No real repercussion to it, just a thing. So for now we're gonna save and quit. Factory is complete. This was our main goal. We also got our side objective of Blade Runners. We'll say goodbye to our little rocky overlord, and we're gonna go pop on my other world real quick. Kind of give you a look of things to be. Oh, I have caps lock on. Wow. I try to make backups at every kind of milestone. So like when I finished tier 1, when I got near tier 2 complete, whenever that way if something borks, I can always back up to an earlier point. Alright, load. First try. Let's see a little bit of the crazy you can get into. Hopefully I'm not out in the middle of nowhere right now. Ooh, walls and windows and all kinds of fun. Nobelisk. Yeah, as you can see, you do get much more inventory, more and more hand slots, etc., etc. Medical inhalers. You do have little tubes for elevator systems. This is the bigger beat stick. So that's my factory as it stands right now. You can see you got the little tubes to go between levels of the factory. You have various ore production. Who is invading my territory here? What do you think you're doing here, good sir? Or not even worth my time. But as you can also see, I've gone very far afield. Like, this is a production facility out here. All the way out here. I believe that's my oil. You can see things are kind of choking and inefficient, but you will eventually get there. I mean, your buffers start to fill up. That's just a bunch of... Oh, wow. Yeah, you can also see that the frames are not... This gets very demanding on your system pretty quick. With all this, like, herky-jerky weirdness. That's going to be something I'm going to have to fight for a while. Just you got so much stuff moving on screen, so much to calculate. But like right here. What do we got going on here? Refineries. I'm using iron and water to make ingots now. Because that makes better use of your iron. So I've gone away from smelters. So you have this whole monstrosity making ingots. Let me see if I can turn down some settings here really quick to make this actually run. There's your multiplayer stuff. Let's just see if that helps a little bit for now. Yeah, so you got all these little... Nope. Ugh. This is gonna take some tweaking as my factory gets bigger. See if that helped a little bit. Oi! My frames. What it is it's just like, look at, like, there's all these conveyors moving stuff. There's so much. Like, this is insanity right here. This is probably driving my CPU to want to end its life. Look away from it for a second, and there's the frames back. Yeah, when you get that, your computer wants to die. Not much I can really do about that, but yeah, peek at it and oof. And that's just your bar manufacturing. That's just getting to the point where you can kind of run. And I kind of not look at stuff over there for a little bit. When that's on my screen, it's not happy. Yeah, well, when in my actual computer, it's fine. It's just that when you the stream encode can't keep up along with it. Like, I'm actually not lagging on my end. It's just the stream is losing its mind with that much moving around. Then you come up here, and you have actual manufacturing. Like, that's putting something up through the floor to something that's being produced above. Like, you got all kinds of goofiness happening. Screws flying like mad out of that machine into here, then getting fed out up into the roof for other things. Got all those elevators that were bringing up raw materials getting fed through. Got a bunch just waiting, even pending. Like, well, hey, I'm here. Use me. Oh yeah, that's what you start to get. Is like I said, like I have destroyed and rebuilt this factory multiple times. As I get more and more access to things, like I said, especially when you get those refineries, it really, really is beneficial to just blow it up, because smelteries don't make sense after a while. You can see I went pulled water from all the hell gone over there. There's other things even. Like I said, that's just some production facility. This is the very first kind of starter place if you choose the most basic first starter place. All of the anger on me right now. So here's how you get your water. You got your little water pumps over here. Got more of them over there. I got, if you see off in the distance right there, that's pulling in quartz, silica, and whatnot. But like, what's powering all this insanity, right? Like, the one thing you can do to help save your laptop a little bit is, like I said, don't do a mega factory. As you can see, look at mega factory, bad things happen. Do a bunch of micro factories. You don't need to cram it all into one place like I do. You can kind of, it requires more travel time maybe to take care of each piece, but it'll make it easier on your CPU. Because you're just not having to worry about having as much on screen at the same time. Hey, big dude, he's cool. He's our buddy. But yeah, then you have, this is an oil pipeline for my refinery. So I'm making rubber and heavy oil. This right here, this is when things get real. Because you have different recipes for like what the oil is doing and what its byproducts are going to be, and you know, which different byproducts have different uses. You have packagers because you need to bring in water and oil at the same time. Like right here, I need water and packaged water. Make packaged fuel. And then I take that packaged fuel and then I unpack it because, yeah, and it outputs fuel in empty canisters. Then I can take those empty canisters, recycle them all the way back into the system to make the packaged water. So you actually can have feedback loops. This, when you start getting into oil, this is when stuff gets real. You're talking about what are the best byproducts to produce? What can you do with those byproducts? When you have like packaging, how can you recycle it? This is when the whole game gets to a whole nother level even. It's a whole thing. And actually right now, I'm producing a crap ton of plastic to go with this copper sheet. Make circuit boards. This world is at the level of mostly like circuit boards and stuff. There's a whole bunch of them. Yeah, super factories, lag mess, micro factories, like right there. Not so much of a lag mess. So one thing I might recommend for you if you do start getting lag, make micro factories, not super factories. That's like a steel micro factory. Spread things out a little bit. There's my power production over there. That is coal land. Do I survive this? Ugh. Trying to keep the super factory off the screen so it doesn't lag so much. You! Bye. I just want to give you a glimpse of really what you're looking at. So like I said, you got steel micro factory, not so much of a lag mess. Got all these feeder lines, so you got a lot of different individual moving components. So that's a bit of a mess. But again, that's more on the encode side. That's not going to be so hard on your computer as you might think. I've been away for too long. All of you guys have come back and decided and forgotten not to mess with me. I don't remember how to use this. Yeah. Boomy boom. Give me... Where's my beat stick? Give me my beat stick. There we go. The medical inhalers are so nice because you don't really have to worry as much. They do a lot of healing in a short period of time. You can see there's a bit of micro factory right here. I can't even remember what this was doing. I think I destroyed it. I think this is a shell from a micro factory. But now I guess I've got my coal power plants up here. I don't really have to worry about. And I got those fuel, they got energy generated from that fuel plant. I've got my coal plant up here. This thing is a whole kind of... You want to talk about like laying things out in a super tight fashion. But this is a this is a tileable setup, so I could build just more and more and just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. And there we go. Making me energy. Because I mean this whole grid has a capacity of 2,000 megawatts. But if my facility was going all out, everything running, I'm at 2,000. I mean, you saw the other one. I'm at not even a 200. And this is still mid game. This is not even end game. What you're seeing here, this is mid game. Oh god, super factory. I don't remember how to crouch, because when you go down these ramps, you can actually slide down the ramps. I mean, I'm an engineer by trade, actually, so I'm familiar with a little bit of layout. Nothing too crazy like that. But, yeah. I'm familiar with how to think about it. You can see I got pathways all the way to hell and gone there, bringing goods to us. You guys! You really have forgotten who the boss is around here. Been away for too long. It's gonna hurt. Ugh. The Blade Runners are so good for fall damage. You can see I got quartz coming in, got sulfur coming in, got some more copper coming in. This is a whole system I'm not even using at this point. I'd offlined it. You'll offline and online all kinds of systems, just depending on Oh, thank you very much. I completely and utterly forgot. Like, it's not doing it right now. I thought it was that, but it's not. I gotta look at it. But yeah, so this is, you can see this is like kind of some tier 4, tier 6. So this is kind of late mid game. Then I'm gonna eventually be an end game on this. But this isn't the world that I'm streaming right now. This is just Tips over here hasn't seen much, so kind of wanted. He's seen me and he's been watching me play in early game, and I kind of wanted. They just bought it, and kind of wanted to give him a glimpse of what the later mid game looks like. Unfortunately, Mega Factories in my stream don't play, so I'm gonna have to keep that in note, and I'm gonna have to do more of a micro factory spread out build in the actual main world. The actual main world is here. I'm actually gonna be getting off here in a second. I've got to go get lunch with the wife. If you want Toadster, you want to see some of how this world came to be. Here is that this is just basic baby's first factory, as I said, for plates, rods, screws, and reinforced iron plates. As we are overwatched by the dick on the rock. I don't know why the devs put a dick on the rock, but they put a dick on the rock. Yeah, hopefully we can see you around again, Toadster. I'd love to. Thanks again for the chat, if anything. I will be hopefully streaming a little bit tomorrow morning. My schedule is not going to be what it is posted on the channel. That's just because I've got my oh no, the spaghetti. You always have a spaghetti mess at the start. Are you kidding me, man? It's always a spaghetti mess at the start. Then you blow it up and you build something like this. And then you realize you have so many better things and you blow that up and you build something else. And that's how the Mega Factory becomes. But since I can't do Mega Factories without the stream lagging like a mofo, I'm going to have to build little micro factories scattered around. But yeah. We salute our Dick Overlord and we sign off. Tomorrow morning, the next week I should be back on schedule roughly. Just I've got my mom in town and I've got a reception and everything. So I'm a little bit off. Well, everybody, have a good day. Have a good week. I'll see you around when I see you around. And thanks again for the follow tips. And thanks again for stopping by, Toadster.